On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, Birdshot for home defense, Obama finally builds a wall, a stick grenade as a nutcracker, and a crazy CCW loadout. Okay, good morning everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 50 of the John1911 Podcast. First podcast of 2017. How's it going, Freeze?
Pretty good. Pretty darn good, actually.
Speak up for me there a little bit. Just get close to your microphone. That's good.
I mean, slide it. Is that a little better?
That's a little better. Yeah, okay. That's better.
I had it a little far away. I just slid it a little closer.
That's a lot better. There you go. That's a lot better. So, yeah, you know what? We haven't done one of these in so long, we forgot how to do it. Either that or we're hungover.
No, not hungover. I might be a little high on smelling chemicals and strippers and all kinds of shit. I've been oh God. I've been in the tool shack working on guns for the past couple of days.
Yeah, I guess I got your text message yesterday. You said you found another crack on the Ross rifle.
Yeah, I did. It's on the bottom side of the stock from where the trigger guard inlays into it. The front of the trigger guard going towards the muzzle. It's about 4 inches long, and it's a real thin hairline crack. Hardly noticeable, but needs to be addressed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why we have you. You're the gun plumber around here, so
yeah.
I'm like oddball in that movie. I don't fix them, man. I just drive them. So, you know.
Hey, you know, while I'm at it, I want to give a shout out to I belong. Yeah, just like you and everyone else. You know, you belong to certain you know gun groups and that on Facebook and shit like that. And I was scrolling through a post and I won't name names, but Mr. IJ of Florida, congratulations for being that guy. Some kid rolls in, and he's a delivery driver, and he delivered a package somewhere, and he saw a stripper clip with some that had 4 rounds on it, and they were dated 1942, and he's just like, hey, the bullets are dated 1942, but it doesn't give the size, you know, any idea, you know, what it is, blah, 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 and he doesn't have a picture or anything. So old Mr. IJ rolls in and posts a picture. You know, he posted a little picture up there that says cartridge components, and it's got a breakdown of the primer and the powder and the case and the bullet, and he's got to be that guy because he rolls in. He's like, oh, you must mean rounds or cartridges because I've never heard of bullets being dated. And it's like, dude, why do you got to be a dick to a noob?
Yeah. Oh, man.
You know? I mean, you know, the odds are this guy probably doesn't listen to our podcast, but, you know, if Mr. IJ from Florida is a dick to noobs, he'll know I'm talking about him. It's like, God damn it. Yeah. I hate guys like that.
You know what? You know, it won't ever be back either. You know?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Instead of educating the guy and saying, you know, and doing it, you don't have to be a dick about it. And, I mean, the thing is, he phrased it politely enough, but you've been around the block enough times, and so have I, to know he's just being a snarky dick. And no, everyone else was trying to be helpful. No one went out there and hammered him. You know, again, it's the whole Clip magazine thing. You know,
Oh, so, dude, that gotcha thing has gotten so. You remember this? We've had guys. We've posted. I don't even remember I mean, there's been multiple incidents of this on our Facebook page over the years. But, like, you know, you'd post something like an N-block clip or a stripper clip to a gun, and we literally had a guy rolling and went, magazine, not clip, asshole. And It was just like, holy fuck.
Well, the thing is, they're in such a hurry to be the first gotcha guy on the list. It's like, oh my God, someone said clip instead of magazine. I got to be the first one to go in there and call him an asshole and a dick, because it's always a magazine, never a clip.
Until it is.
Yeah, and exactly, until it is a clip.
Well, some of the Facebook doesn't do this, but a lot of these gun forums, again, my position on gun forums is pretty well documented. Basically, if you need a specific answer or a specific piece of information, go into whatever gun forum is appropriate, look for what you want to get out of it, then back out. Because you'll go on these forums. I'm not going to name any specific forums because it's just not the point. You'll see a person and they have, some of them 4,000, 8,000, 10,000. I've seen some people with 20,000 posts under that account on that forum. And and you're like, does this guy ever even leave the fucking house? Does this guy ever even actually shoot his shit? Because if you ever go to notice these forums, a lot of these guys, they're on there all day and all night. Well,
in where that's really bad at
Don't mention the forum.
Whatever. Collectors forums and milsurp forums, because a lot of those guys, collectors, don't shoot their guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't. They're collector guns. They don't shoot them. They talk about them all the time.
Yeah, and it's just it's disheartening to see some of that stuff. We even did a post on John1911. This guy rolled into this. It's a gun group on Facebook, and I guess he was. It almost seemed like it was it must be some kind of joke or a troll, or like maybe like TSA will sometimes they'll have their red team, where they'll be like, we're going to make a fake bomb. And it's so obviously fake, and we're not going to try to hide it and see if we can go through security to test to see if they catch it. They do these red team exercises.
You mean kind of like the kid who made the alarm clock?
Clock boy, fucking clock boy. Oh my God, boy, if that isn't like the if that isn't Barack Obama's presidency in like one little. I know.
If you had to sum it up in one picture, that would be it.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot there. Manufactured, fake, ideological, regardless of facts, just as a vehicle to push whatever bullshit agenda, regardless of what the country actually wants or what's really going on. Yeah. So anyway, but this guy on this Facebook group, I started thinking about it, and it's like, I guess he was in Texas somewhere and maybe close to Mexico, and he claimed to be at some gun show where some guy had a Sturmgewehr, the German MP, what's it called, Freeze? Is it MP44?
The STG 44.
Okay. And supposedly, I can't recall. It's on John1911. I can't recall.
It was a DWAT.
And it was spiked, and so since it was spiked before whatever, I can unspike it, and you don't have to tell the ATF, and then you can have a machine gun because America, and all this, and it just didn't make any goddamn sense, and it just sounded
and you can get ass raped in prison because America.
Yeah, and it was and this thing just went out of control, and this guy got pissed off because he was mad as fuck that people were shitting on his parade, and and sure, I decided to, we heard about it, and so we put it up. But one thing I think that was kind of lost on a lot of the people who were all upset about this post and this particular one gun group was, if this gun group and its moderators aren't going to basically get in here and take care of this problem, maybe you should think about leaving that gun group. Just leave, because if you want to end up on a list somewhere, all these people, especially I love the guys that are like legal gun owners that follow every rule and dot every I and cross every T, and yet they don't want to have an app for their guns on their phone that saves anything to the cloud because they don't want the government to get on a list, those same people will even associate with some jackass in some forum, who's talking about illegal machine guns on the border with Mexico. And you're just like saying, you got to say to yourself at some point, you just have to say, fuck it and just leave. So, one of the keys of happiness in life is the ability to say no. And at some point, you just got to be like, no, I'm out of here. I don't give a fuck. This is just nuts. What the hell else is going on in here?
I told a guy one day, he was talking about, not being on the list. And it's like, dude, I'm on so many lists as it is now. What's one more? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Government knows who I am in spades, Yeah. I mean, it's like, whatever, dude. I don't care. I've had an FFL in the past, I mean, I'm, a gun owner. I'm a certified gunsmith. Yeah, I'm on so many government lists as it is. Look, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think the whole quote, you can't see my air quotes, but my whole quote unquote list thing is bullshit anyway, but whatever. I mean, look, if you don't want to be on a government list, drop off the grid. You shouldn't even be on the internet.
Yeah, we've had those guys order shirts from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite are the guys. Oh, dude, we've seen dude, I'll tell you what, now that we've kind of, we've rolled into John 1911 and we're, really kind of revealing more about like who we are and the stuff that we do and the stuff we're interested in. We have seen so many crazy jackasses. Like the Chris Kyle shirt is what really, really brought him out of the woodwork. We had so many nut jobs who crawled out from under their rock, and they wanted a Chris Kyle memorial shirt, but they wanted to do some kind of weird transaction with like throwaway email addresses and cougarans and, smoke signals and dead drops. I mean, people, I think the average person who listens to this podcast, who's basically, American loving, right from wrong, living, decent person would be shocked at just how non sequitur and crazy some of these people are out there. The shit that they get in their heads, but that they don't ever think it through. And,
yeah.
And I mean, I hate to say it like this, but people suck, dude. I mean, it's just like, God.
Yeah, can you deliver my shirt to Larry, no last name, because, well, he doesn't go by a last name, and Larry's not even his real first name, and once he receives it, he's going to tie it to a carrier pigeon that's homed in on my shack up in the mountains. I mean, seriously, there was some crazy stuff.
Yeah, some guy, somebody was emailing us, and he had literally, I think his email address was like burner email 65 or something at gmail.com. You can just tell that these people are really living a fantasy movie in their head more than actually trying to accomplish anything. They're more into their own little kabuki theater than they are with actually trying to solve problems or achieve certain goals, whatever those goals may be, because they're nuts.
Well, yeah, speaking of nuts, I was looking at a Facebook post on another group. This was, I don't know, one day last week, I think. And a guy posted a picture of his EDC.
Oh, God. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let me grab my ass.
Now, in all fairness, this guy supposedly worked for G4S Security.
Yeah, I know G4.
And so he's got a duty belt, and all that. So he's not carrying concealed. But in this picture, he had like 3 handguns. There was like 16 mags. There was like 4 knives, and one was like a K-bar, and And he had like flash drives and a passport, a pack of smokes, like 4 lighters. And he had, like 2 cell phones, a pager. I mean, it was crazy. The guy had so much. I mean, it was to the point where it was stupid, and everyone's calling bullshit, and all this crazy stuff. And he eventually deleted the post after like 250 comments, But here's the thing. I actually had to go in and make a comment. Because I did, because everyone's talking about, talking about, Y3 guns and magazines and all this crazy shit. And I just rolled in and said, hey, if this guy's a security guard and he carries this much bull crap, where's his 4 pair of handcuffs? Or if nothing else, where's his bundle of zip ties? And everyone's like, huh. It's like, because seriously, if you're a security guard and you're carrying 3 guns, dude, that guy's carrying 4 pair of handcuffs. But there was none in the picture, so,
Yeah.
Dude,
you are correct. Look, there is I don't know if you're familiar with this. There was a famous incident. I don't know if you heard about this. Do you know how the FBI, the FBI has the HRT, which is their hostage rescue team, which is their quote tier 1 law enforcement unit.
Yeah.
And there was a
Night Elf Mohawks of the FBI.
Yeah. They're based outside of DC, and there was a dog and pony show.
Actually, I heard they live in the basement of one of the Hogan's Alley houses. I'm sorry, I'm just messing with you.
No, there was a famous. Who the hell was there? Who the hell was this? There was one dog and pony show with George Herbert Walker Bush when he was vice president. And then there was another dog and pony show with the then director of the FBI. And basically, they were looking at Delta for some direction and input in creating a national, emergency response tactical police unit, which is what, above and beyond the local SWAT teams or the regional SWAT teams that the FBI runs. And so they set the guy up, put him in a shoot house. I think he was an FBI director. And they made entry into the room. I think the guy may be behind plexiglass or something. But, do this big dog and pony show, entrance, room clearing and all this, and bullets are flying around, and it's all done. And the guy, the VIP, whoever he was, he asked this question. He goes, where are their handcuffs? And literally, there was like a jaw-dropping moment when the law enforcement guys and the military guys realized that they were 2 ships passing in the night, because when you send in Delta Force, they're not there to arrest anybody, and it's, your post is very prescient, when you think about it, just, as far as what's really going on here, what's the goal, what's the end state. And, everyone wants to talk about fancy guns and all this tactical shit, but what's your job? What's the end state? It's not all about guns. It's about having some kind of mission, and whether your mission is to, make it home every day from your job at the Stop and Rob, or whether your mission is to go and kill Osama bin Laden, you gotta live in that world, And this guy's security guard, he is
Mr. G4S doesn't have handcuffs or zip ties, and okay, I'm throwing in the zip ties because of the mall ninja factor, but like every security guard I know, and I know about half a dozen security guards, they all carry 2 sets of handcuffs, which is standard. Most cops do the same because you got the big guys.
Yeah.
Guys that can't lock their arms behind their back, and I know one super douche security guard, super mall ninja dude. He carries 4 pair of handcuffs, but he only carries 1 gun though. You know,
He's better served off with served by 1 gun. I mean, you can keep a bug or something if he's really in that kind of world, but he's better off with 1 gun and 4 magazines, like a full size service pistol, than 3 or 4 guns. You know what I mean?
This guy, you know, in his EDC picture had 3 guns, and he had like 4 extra mags plus 1 in the gun for each gun, and it's like, dude.
You know, I've never told you this story. I have to, since this is I'm recording this publicly. You know, I have to at least give myself an out. I'm not 100% sure this is G4S that I'm talking about, but back in another job and some other business endeavors that you and I really can't go into, but you know what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually contacted by, I believe it was G4S, to see if I wanted to run people through their version of SEER School, but it wasn't SEER School. It basically was like they're kidnapped. They'd set up a class, and they wanted to basically have people pay them money, which I would pay them money. Then I would run my employees through their class, and then they basically would handcuff my employees to chairs, put hoods over their heads, and then proceed to beat the piss out of them for 3 days, and try to teach them, you know, their supposed anti-interrogation course. And it's just like, you know, and you know, this look, and this is again because you could tell, and again, I'm not sure it was G4S, but I'm pretty sure it was G4S. You can tell people that have experience with this kind of stuff, and then people that basically build things based off of like Hollywood and media. You know, a lot like I mean, there are. Okay, in the military and in these worlds, there's SEER School, and there's like a lower level type of prisoner of warfare training, basic evasion, interrogation, resistance techniques. And then you can go, most people don't realize there's a couple higher levels above that. Like, you know, if you make it to, since we're talking about it, if you make it to Delta Force or you make it to SEAL Team 6, you have to go through its own type of interrogation training, and they even changed the term for it. It's for the, quote, war fighters. And I actually had met a guy as a PhD, and he does a lot of this interrogation type stuff. And this isn't about putting hoods over people's heads and beating the piss out of them. It was just like, you could just tell it was the blind leading the blind here on this, and that was G4. I could be wrong, so don't send me an email, but I'm pretty certain it was G4S. That they wanted to know if we wanted to run people through their now let me pay you money to beat the piss out of you. And it was just like, fuck you, I pay me money. I mean, it was just bizarre, I mean, it was just you can just tell it's like poser central with a lot of the shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to get into it because I'll end up pissing a bunch of people off. But there's a lot of reasons why the mall ninja is strong with a lot of people these days.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it, hey, who does? I mean, look, we like guns. Look, everybody wants to do all the cool, fun stuff, but look, the real world doesn't work. None of this works the way any of these people think any of this works. Like, look, I don't know this for certain. I don't know this for certain, and because I've never bothered to look into it, but I've always heard a rumor. Do you remember the 4 guys from Blackwater that got killed in Fallujah, strung up on the bridge back during the war freeze?
Yeah,
I don't know if this is true, and even if the rumor is not true, it's a good example of what is possible. Those guys, I mean, the rumor always is they died for toilet paper.
It could be. I don't know.
Scotty Body, the Navy SEAL, and a couple of these other guys. And, they were supposed to go around the city. They drove through the city. And, all this has to exist for a reason. Like, all these people, like, you see, look, here's another one. I know the guy. I'm acquainted with the guy. I'm acquainted with this person. The guy who used to run all the security under the Department of State contract for L. Paul Bremer, which was the Coalition Provisional Authority guy in Baghdad or in Iraq before we handed over control of the country back to the civilians. And it was a Blackwater contract, and it was through the Department of State. And, whenever you see pictures of Blackwater or reports of Blackwater, you always see, here's the thing, you always see this team. They've got the helicopters, every helicopter you see with Blackwater, and all these guys, and they're running around this VIP. Well, here's the truth. There's only so many guys that were on that individual contract, but Blackwater has had contracts all up and down that goddamn country. And it's amazing how many people that had contracts at Blackwater that really were just basically mall security guards. Amazingly today, how many of them are walking around telling everybody that, they worked on the L. Paul Bremer contract. It's like nobody at Blackwater apparently guarded toilet paper. Seriously. L. Paul Bremer didn't have 15,000 Blackwater security guards. It was, I think, the total number over a year and a half.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe a couple hundred.
Hey, even the Green Berets have cooks.
And it's just like, none of this works the way any of these assholes think this stuff does. Because at the end of the day, and again, Blackwater or being a security guard or any of the stuff, nobody's paying you money to go be a contractor so you can go and shoot people and live your Rambo fantasy. You're there because some business is there, because they have a business interest, and everybody's trying to make money. And if they're not making money, you are causing, if you're keeping them from making money, or you're getting in the way of them making money, or it all becomes about you and not the people who are there to make money, you don't get the work there. And see, it's easier to get on the internet and just be a jackass as opposed to living in the real world. Like all these people that want to be special forces, and it's, and I don't know how many times you'll see a guy, they'll meet somebody who was who's a Navy SEAL, or who was in SEAL Team 6, or maybe who was in Delta Force, and they meet them and they find out they're not gun guys. And it's they're like, what do you mean I have a gun? Yeah, I don't, I don't really do it. And you're like, but, well, no, because Hollywood isn't going to make a movie. Hollywood's not going to make 8 movies, Rambo 47, about a guy who's a badass communications sergeant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you have to know, language skills, how to run communications gear, navigation, driving school, scuba, parachuting. It's not all goddamn guns.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's, that's why, what's our company motto, Freeze?
Shooting guns and having fun.
Shooting guns and having fun. That's all we're interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really hit the nail on the head, because, there are so many guys out there that are, special forces guys, just, high speed, low drag dudes. And Dude, they're not gun guys. They do their job, and it's like, their gun is a tool. It's kind of like having a hammer or a screwdriver in your toolbox. A mechanic has a screwdriver, but, he doesn't play with that screwdriver 24/7. It's a tool. He uses it. He throws it back in the toolbox. And that's how a lot of these guys are. But Hollywood has made it so glamorous. Everyone wants to be, Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal. I'm trying to pick like the worst movie actors I can think of.
I think Jean-Claude Van Damme was actually a ballet dancer.
Yeah,
in real life. No, I'm actually not kidding. I think he ended up having to go get his black belt after he kind of became famous because people were like, dude, I don't think this dude's got any martial arts background. That's why he can do the splits.
He's just a hell of a dancer.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. He has a black belt now, but because, I'm pretty certain his original training, I don't think it was, they kind of had to clean that shit up because turns out he wasn't I don't think he was a guy that came from the martial arts world.
Huh. Okay. Didn't know that, but.
Well, I'm in the martial arts world. So, I kind of remember that. This was all pre like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and UFC and all that. I remember when the UFC kind of started before it was called UFC, and it was basically they set up this thing up where like all these different styles would come together, and who's really going to be the baddest ass martial artist, and you have like a Taekwondo guy going in there with like a Kung Fu guy, and you'd have Shotokan karate versus a whatever, and it turns out what they figure out real quick was certain things and certain styles kind of moved to the top, and then what you ended up happening is basically anybody that wanted to be the best in that genre and they wanted to win all the time, they started taking elements of different martial arts that they could do, and it basically became dominated by, quote, mixed martial arts, MMA, which was things that basically were working, and then Gracie Jiu-Jitsu with that, and that basically took over UFC. You don't see a guy in UFC now who's like a ninjutsu expert.
Yeah, okay, I don't really watch UFC, so
they're all like, it's all one or two or three things, it's... Yeah, none of this...
I take your word for it. I'm probably like the only guy around that doesn't like get a Woodrow thinking about UFC fights. You know how many UFC fights I've actually seen in my life?
Probably zero.
Zero. Exactly right. I have seen zero. I saw the clip of Ronda Rousey getting her ass handed to her the other day. So wait a minute. I guess I have seen one fight because that thing was only like
48 seconds.
48 seconds long. So okay, I have seen one.
Well, that's
fight.
the thing. Like, if there's a big fight and it ends like that, I don't watch UFC. But if something is like, oh man, yeah, Ronda Rousey, I can't say her name, she got her ass kicked in 48 seconds. I'll go watch a 48-second fight. It's like watching Mike Tyson when he was 19 in boxing.
Oh yeah,
do you remember when pay-per-view was kind of new and Mike Tyson? I don't remember how he was fighting, but they sold this big and it was the biggest pay-per-view event in the history of pay-per-view at the time. And Mike Tyson came out and ended this fight. I don't even think it went 2 minutes.
No, dude, it was.
Was it 15 seconds or some shit?
Yeah, I think it was like 35 seconds. It was. I mean, this was an expensive pay-per-view fight.
Oh, back then, I think it was like $40 or $60. It was a lot of money back then. This was I don't know, probably early 90s, or was it maybe the 80s? I can't remember. I remember the fight because a friend of mine, his father was actually paid for it, and I remember never hearing the end of it. And a lot of people were pissed off at freaking Mike Tyson for winning the goddamn thing. It's like, that's his goddamn job. What's he supposed to do? Hang out in the ring for 12 rounds and get his noggin knocked out, and so just so you can have a long fight, for entertainment. Yeah. It was, again, none of this works the way people think it's supposed to work. In the real world, I mean, it's just interesting how, all kinds of stuff doesn't work the way people think it does.
Yeah.
So, okay. You had mentioned this real quick before we went live. What the hell's going on in Fort Lauderdale? This is actually not the morning, it's the afternoon. It's Friday the 9th, Friday the 6th, January 6th, it's the afternoon. Because, we've been, with the holidays and everything going on, we were a little behind on podcasts, and this afternoon, you were busy earlier. You said there was a shooting in Fort Lauderdale? What's going on?
Yeah, I have no clue. I just heard that 9 people were shot, 3 are dead.
Really?
Yeah, that's all I know. I just heard a blurb right when I was signing on.
Breaking news: This is what's currently seeing now. 5 dead, 8 injured after Fort Lauderdale airport shooting, gunman in custody. There's a bunch of people saying on the tarmac. See, the suspect was identified as Esteban Santiago. Hold on. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The suspect was Esteban Santiago. He said Santiago was carrying a military ID but did not elaborate. Broward County, Florida. I guess that's where Fort Lauderdale is. Well, and this is, who knows what this is going to end up being, but, this is just like the thing in Turkey or the thing in, you go to the airport now, you don't need to, if you're a terrorist, I'm not saying anything that is like giving a terrorist an idea here. If you want to kill a bunch of people at an airport, you don't have to get a bomb onto an airplane. You just have to show up with a panel truck at the curbside check-in. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's, you harden these targets. And, everybody's got to queue up to get into them. Surprise! Guess what? Yeah. This is the future. But hey, Barack Obama is rushing to let more of these types of people, or the people that typically the Syrian refugees into the U.S. Now, this guy may not end up. This may end up being nothing. This may end up not being anything to do with anything. He just might be batshit crazy. Like the guy who shot Gifford. He was worshiping that dude. He was worshiping human skulls in his backyard. He was just crazy, and that's the thing. Everyone's so fixated right now on domestic terrorism, foreign terrorism, racial issues, Black Lives Matter, and all that crap. Well, let's not forget, there's just crazy ass fucking people out there. The Navy just took possession of the littoral combat ship, the LCS, the Gabby Giffords, and the report is that it's not combat survivable. Oh, that's nice. Well, none of them are. The LCS ships they're too undergunned. They don't have enough weapons to defend to effectively defend themselves against a determined attack. Kind of like its namesake. That was kind of the argument, the universal irony of the name of the ship and the situation. The USS Gabby Gifford's not combat survivable, and it's like, oh, yeah. Well, that's a whole big other thing. I was going to write in my queue, I have a big write-up on that entire problem and what the Navy's trying to do and what the issues are. I don't think the average person understands, the average civilian understands the issues the Navy's facing. They basically, the Navy needs more ships, but nobody can afford to build all these aircraft carriers. And the reality is, in a real life shooting war against an enemy that has parity, which we haven't had an enemy with parity since World War II. The argument's made that you've got these. I don't know how much money and national treasure goes into building, funding, maintaining, and operating an aircraft carrier battle group and all the ships that go with it. You can just kill it. You can just kill them with one missile, and it's just like, maybe we should take that money, break it up into a bunch of smaller ships that are, chock to the brim with sea-launched cruise missiles. And then we'd rather have 60 of these or 80 of these ships sailing around off the coast of, say, China, and we can just, saturate the hell out of them. And they have to get, you know what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it worked during World War II. The King Tiger was a badass son of a bitch, and the Sherman couldn't stand up to it. But when you have 100 Sherman tanks to one Tiger,
Yeah.
Yeah, that Tiger may take out, 30 Shermans, but, the remaining 70 will eventually take that Tiger down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's merit to that.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because historically speaking, and I think a lot of people don't realize this either, and I've kind of learned some of it later on in life. The Russians, the Germans were shocked at how many tanks the Russians had when they invaded Russia, but they were also shocked at how good the tanks actually were. The Russians built heavy-duty, bigger and bigger and bigger tanks, but they were simple.
Well, half the Russian tanks didn't have communication. I mean, they couldn't communicate from tank to tank. I mean, they were pretty stripped down. But they had there were no sharp edges on Russian tanks. They were all contoured, sloped edges and rounded edges. And a lot of the reasons the Russian tanks survived is because a lot of the German shells deflected off of them.
Yeah, the Germans were surprised that they there's even audio. There's it's one of the few recordings I think of Adolf Hitler talking, and he's not, giving a speech at the Reichstag and basically, talking the way he, normally when you hear Hitler talk, he has a certain type of cadence and tone. But this conversation was, I think, recorded in a train car, and he's talking to another leader of some other country, and they were complaining about the Russians, and he was just like, who would have fucking figured they had so many goddamn tanks? Yeah. He's like, who would have figured they did this, this, and this? And he was just, it was very interesting just to listen to it had to be translated, but, it was just interesting, what people think versus how things really, really were. It's just not quite all as simple as it's set out to be. So anyway, Florida guy, we don't know. We'll see what that turns out to be and whatever.
Yeah, time will tell on that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Let's see. I have been enjoying the past couple of days, catching my news blurbs. I have been enjoying all the talking heads on the left totally melting down because it's not a hate crime. It's not a hate. Oh yeah, it is a hate crime. Talking about
the kids in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh damn! I forgot to tell you. I don't know if this is confirmed or not. Okay, they arrested, it's 2 guys and 2 girls. Let me find this. So, they arrested them. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. I may actually send this to you. I'm going to send this to you real quick in an email before I tell it on the air, because I want you to see if you recognize this picture. This photograph. So, one of the girls arrested for this attack is named Brittany Herring. Herring. Very German name. Did you see the link?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I thought her name was like Cunningham or something.
There's like 2 girls. There's a charged Tess-Vay Cooper, Brittany Covington, Tanisha Covington. See, Tess-Vay Cooper, Brittany Covington, and Tanisha Covington, all of Chicago, and Jordan Hill, 18 of Carpersville. Wait a minute.
Brittany Covington's Facebook account, and in parentheses, Brittany Herring.
Oh, okay. So, all right. There was a photograph going around the internet a couple years ago. Maybe a year or so ago, of a woman wiping her ass with the American flag. Remember when it was all this, all these people were taking photographs of I hate to say it, but it was predominantly black people. But this is before Colin Pumpernickel, whatever his name is, was doing his thing. It was, the Black Lives Matter crew, people
stepping on the
flag and doing all that kind of stuff. There's a photograph of a girl bending over, wiping her ass with the American flag and sticking out her middle finger. It is being reported on the internet. I haven't confirmed it because we're just talking about it now. That the woman who is the famous picture of the woman wiping her ass with the American flag is one of the girls arrested in this video.
I've got this link up that you're talking about, and I can look at this two ways. Either, because the caption is, "This is what I think of your country," and it's got the picture. Either that's her in the picture and she posted it that way, or she got the picture offline and posted it on her Facebook page saying, "This is what I think of your country." I could see it go either way until I get a confirmation, because I don't know the hair's short in the picture, so, I don't know if it's her or not. It could be.
Oh, you know what? I'm mistaken. The girl in the picture, this is why I don't like to talk about shit I don't run down. Turns out I'm mistaken. The girl in the picture is Sierra McGrone, desecrating the U.S. flag. So apparently the girl in the picture is not the girl that was arrested. The girl that was arrested just promoted the picture. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So... Oh, shit. The girl in the picture that's wiping her ass with the flag, she's in the military.
No, that's a dependent card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not a cat card.
One of her parents are in the military. Specialist E7, U.S. Army retired.
Okay.
So I'd say it's probably her dad. Could be her mom, but I would assume her dad.
Sergeant First Class E7?
Yeah.
You don't have your glasses on. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's... Well, you know what? But this kind of still circles into the point that I've... This kind of been a running theme that I've been making for a while about these kind of... these incidents. Look, we've got people that follow us on Facebook, and they follow us for various reasons. They either like what we have to say, they like our gun content, or they cyber stalk us because they hate us and they want to kill us. But the thing is,
there is that.
But well, a lot of people, there are all these people, and again, if you're someone that actually thinks that what we say is pretty interesting, I implore you to listen to. I've said this repeatedly. All you folks on, quote, social media, and you get on there, I'll post a story or a picture on something, and some guy will roll in, and you know how it is. I'd have gone in and just shot them motherfuckers, or I would do this, or I would do that, and they think they just put this stuff up there, and it's, in 3 or 4 days it's gone. But they don't realize that, social media is the internet. There is no social media is just some bullshit term that for some reason they don't respect. Facebook is the internet right now.
Yeah.
And it's searchable.
It's forever.
And here's the thing, you end up doing, you end up in a self-defense shooting, justified, or maybe it's borderline, but you got on Facebook 3 years before and you basically were popping off at the mouth because you didn't really care and maybe you said some stuff you're not really proud of. Well, guess what? It's going to come up, and it's going to come up at a really bad time when someone's trying to figure out whether you crossed the line with your state of mind and maybe you should have retreated instead of shoot that person.
Yeah, and I tell people this all the time. I do. It's like, Never go in there and post, I'd have shot the motherfucker in the face. I'd have killed him, blah, blah, blah. Because you know what? If you carry a firearm for personal protection, you know what? Hell, if you carry a knife for personal protection and you have to use it to save yourself or a loved one or whatever case, man, unless it's so cut and dry, they just look at it and just decide they're not going to pursue it. I mean, if that has to go to a grand jury in any way, shape, or form, dude, they will find that post.
They will, and that'll make
it will not look good. That'll make the difference
between a getting indicted and having to go win this in a trial versus not being indicted.
Well, I was going to say it a different way. I would have said that's going to make the difference between you being able to go home or you having to pay your attorney $50K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guarantee you, all the people that I would put in a few columns of like decent people in the perspective, even there's a spectrum of decent people, of various whatever. They're all basically kind of thinking in the back of their minds, nah, that's true, but that won't happen to me, or I'm different, or I'm special. Freeze, this was again while we were kind of dealing with the holidays, end of the year. There was a shooting a couple weeks ago. Some kid at a school, and I think it subsequently came out maybe the kid was being bullied, but he's in school and it looked like a goddamn Rambo knife. It looked like the thing was 6, 7, 8 inches long. He's got this big ass knife in his hand, and I guess maybe he had stabbed somebody, which is okay, fine, whatever. The police get called. They show up. This kid, it's on like, security cameras and cell phone cameras, and he's standing there with this knife, and they shoot him. And I mean, look, whether the kid had the knife in self-defense or not, he's standing in the middle of a school. There's people stabbed. He's waving a knife around. A cop shows up and says, drop the knife, get on the fucking ground. He doesn't, so they shot him. Well, that's a justifiable shoot. Now, it may be unfortunate the kid got shot, but nobody's questioning, with a rational mind, that shoot is not justified. But guess what? For many days after, people were complaining about the cops shooting that kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't think of a more cut and dry goddamn case of a shooting in recent memory. And guess what? If that cop, I don't know what race of the cop was, or gender of the cop, or race of the kid. I think the kid was male. But if somebody can construct some narrative between those two elements, and then search your Facebook for the last 8 or 10 years you've been on Facebook saying stupid shit on the internet, and turn you into Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not a Ku Klux Klan member. Donald Trump is not a white supremacist. Donald Trump's a New York businessman who never breaks a sweat and probably wears Italian-made slippers. You know what I mean? Now he's a Nazi, Clucker, Klan, white supremacist guy. Yeah. Does Donald Trump have anything in common with anybody that you typically consider a white supremacist, Freeze? I mean, seriously. Donald Trump.
Well, dude, let me tell you something.
But,
let's see, I know, 8 or 10 white supremacists. I mean, when I say I know them,
I know you do.
We're not close personal friends.
But the point is, you can get on the internet.
Let me tell you something. Donald Trump's security wouldn't let any of these douchebags within 100 meters of his freaking house, much less would he associate with these dirtbags. Because they're all dirtbags. I don't know, all the white supremacist people that I know don't even own a suit. I'm sure there are some that wear suits and stuff, but I mean, all the ones I know are the typical, combat boots, and they're
the red laces and some of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, they're all dirtbags.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, if you're on the bubble on something in the public eye, and then somebody can, Facebook's been around about 10 years. I think it started about 2006. And, maybe opened up to the general public about 2008. I'm not sure, 2007. 10 years of whatever, every comment or post or bullshit thing you liked, you saw something cool, like, you're on the internet, you like Glocks. I'm going to choose a simple example to prove a point. You like Glock 17 ported pistols because they're ported and they're your favorite gun. And there's a photograph of one that comes up in your news feed, and it's like got all these cool shit hanging off of it with a cool holster, and it's lit well and do whatever, and you liked it, and you didn't even notice that there was some kind of little 8.8 in the picture or some other little bullshit thing that meant nothing to you. Turns out that picture was somehow associated with a white supremacist, and people just don't. The lessons people are learning. If you are listening to this right now, and you think you got this, you think this is under control, dude, you're not ready. People don't realize what's coming. They don't realize how they're about to get fucked over by a lot of this stuff.
Look. All they have to do is connect you it doesn't have to even be real. It could be something as silly as like, oh, wow, Marky watched a Iraq Vet 88 video. He must be a Nazi. Because, he's got 88 in his name. And it's like, really? But.
Oh, dude, that's a perfect example. Okay, we don't generalize. Because you and I have talked about this. Before, we started seeing this guy on YouTube and he started coming up. And I'm looking at, I looked at his, and I was like, who is this person? And it said Iraq Vet 8888. And I was like, that's interesting. Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
You and I talked about it, and here's the thing. I'm sure he never talks about it publicly, but I know he gets asked about it a lot. And everyone's always kind of wondering, did he create that YouTube name years ago, not thinking, or basically, maybe he, whatever. He didn't know what the future was going to hold.
Well, look. I mean, for all I know, he could be a white supremacist. I mean, I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. But I have seen him actually make a comment. He's like, frequently asked questions, and they were like, "Where does Iraq Vet 8888 comes from?" And he's like, "Oh, just I typed in a name and it automatically filled in the numbers, and it just randomly became that." And I believe him. I mean, I want to believe him, but I guarantee you, because he wants to control the narrative, he has gotten a fuck ton of goddamn emails and questions about that name for that very reason. And again, if it was random, it even proves my point even more. People can connect you to anything in any crazy circuitous way, you better grab your ass.
Donald Trump's a white supremacist because out of all the millions of people he's actually interacted with and met over the course of his lifetime doing business and, in celebrity status, they can connect, I think the reason he's a white supremacist is because some white supremacist guy came out and said he supports him or something like. I mean, it's really dumb.
Well, the media does that on purpose. They track that. That's no different. The media will always go whenever they want to. This is why the mainstream media is in trouble. They always want to go after conservatives or Republicans. So they immediately, if any conservative or Republican starts getting any kind of public traction, they go through their Rolodex and they find their go-to neo-Nazi white supremacist clucker person, which is typically David Duke, and they go, "Hey, do you like Donald Trump?" And he goes, "Yep, I like Donald Trump." And then it's all on fucking Donald Trump to disavow it. And they did it to George Bush. Did it to McCain. Every goddamn one. It's one of their bullshit things. And here's the thing: you at home watching this, Donald Trump has Jewish children and Jewish grandchildren. He's very pro-Israel, but somehow he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
And if you don't think, you are not Donald Trump. You don't have 40 million people following you on social media. You get behind the curve on something like this, people can bury you online. Your name's Bob Smith, and you're out there in bumfuck Egypt, and the media decides you're a Nazi, it's now incumbent upon you to not be.
Yeah,
you have to prove it now.
Bob Smith loses his job, loses all his friends,
all because Bob Smith got the call for a kid with a knife at a high school and showed up and was like, holy shit, that kid's got a really big fucking knife. Drop it. He doesn't, and shoots him, does his job, and now, insert whatever political agenda you want in this story, and you are screwed. And people just have no idea what's coming. This quote social media. People ignore social media. It's a way to put it down, or a way to, that social media. No, so I got news for you. You mean the internet? Social media is called the fucking internet. And when people use the phrase social media in that context, they're lying to themselves. So anyway, I'm getting deep in on this. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So,
hey, did you hear Obama's building a wall? Tell me you heard this.
No, I haven't. What wall? What wall is he building?
He's got a house that he's renting in Washington while his youngest daughter finishes school. She's not. I don't think she's 18. The oldest daughter, I think, is. I guess it's Sasha. Maybe is Sasha the young one. I don't remember.
Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, but he's living in a suburb in Washington. Or he's living in a neighborhood in Washington, not a suburb. And he's going to have Secret Service. I mean, look, Barack Obama is the president that killed Osama bin Laden. Barack Obama will have a pretty significant Secret Service detail for the rest of his life.
Sure he will.
He's not going to be like Jimmy Carter, where you can be in the airport and be like, Jimmy Carter's on my airplane. I mean, they're building a big-ass brick wall around this rental home in this nice neighborhood in Washington, D.C. that Obama's going to be in.
Yeah.
They're building it today.
Keep the illegals out.
I noticed a few of them looked like they were of Hispanic heritage building it, and I wondered when that was going to come up. And it's just like walls don't work, huh?
Nope. No, they don't.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, a Facebook friend of mine on my personal Facebook account, he posts stuff on the internet, and it shows up on my wall. That's, the way Facebook works. And he posted he posted an article about Narcan.
Oh God.
Yeah. And I don't remember what it was, but I brought up what I think is a valid point. Everyone's talking about, Donald Trump and the zombie apocalypse coming and all that stuff. So my question is, if you're a dead junkie that gets revived using Narcan, does that make you a zombie?
I can tell you've had a lot of free time this Christmas. Does that? You know what? I'll tell you what. Some of these heroin users, coming back. I guess maybe technically you could qualify as a zombie.
So maybe the zombie apocalypse is upon us.
Didn't you tell me that one of the big sources of the elephant heron, one of the task forces arrested that guy? Didn't you tell me that?
Yeah. He's a Canadian dude,
and he was bringing the heron in, or he was.
Yeah, he was the
fentanyl.
He was the one cutting it with elephant fentanyl.
Did they bust him here? Or they bust him in Canada. Did they get him?
You know what? I don't remember if he was busted in Canada or if he was busted here in the U.S. I don't recall.
Yeah.
This was maybe a month ago, I want to think.
Was it hunting or something? It was hunting.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned it to me.
We were busy with the transition and hunting, and just it was crazy.
Yeah. So
and and it's kind of like, it was kind of a fly by night thing. It's like, okay, it's not really, it's an interesting data point, but hey, whatever.
Do you ever follow Metallica?
No, actually, I hate Metallica.
I didn't. Oh, great.
No. But let me explain that before the millions of Metallica fans.
You're a Skinner guy, there, right?
Yeah. When I was younger,
You're a little old for Metallica.
No, not really. I mean, Metallica started in the '80s. I was around when they began. I listened to them in the early days. But here's why I hate Lynyrd Skynyrd. Here's why I hate Led Zeppelin, and here's why I hate Metallica. Because on our local rock station, which I don't listen to anymore, I haven't listened to it in years because I don't listen to a lot of radio anymore, and two, I just don't have time for the nonsense, that they play. But every night, I don't know, around 8, 9 o'clock, they'd do like a solid half hour or hour of Led Zeppelin, and they'd play the same 4 fucking songs over and over and over. When Led Zeppelin's got 9,000 songs, well, they do the same thing with Metallica. Now it's mandatory Metallica, where for either half an hour or an hour, you get to listen to nothing but Metallica uninterrupted. And again, they play the same 4, 5, 6 songs. And it's just, years ago, I just got so sick and tired of them. It's like a Metallica song comes on, I just turn the radio off. I can't stand it. It's oversaturation.
Now that you are a media personality, I'm surprised you don't have a different view of this entire topic now. You probably haven't thought about it because we've never talked about this. You know as well as I do now in the context of content promotion and publication.
Yes.
Mandatory Metallica is what it's called, where they play so many songs or an hour of Metallica. All that is giving them downtime. So either they don't have to pay a DJ, or the one DJ can't come in till 9, and the other DJ's got to be home by whatever time, and they got to fill in. Dude, that's all that is.
Yeah, it gives them time to go take a leak, catch a smoke, whatever.
Yeah, the audio engineer can just run the station for an hour.
Yeah, smoke a joint, while the audio engineer does his thing. I understand all that. I mean, I do.
It's somebody's lunch break.
But your question was, if I like Metallica,
and I got my answer.
And that's my answer. And it's not that I hate Metallica because I hate their music. I hate Metallica because I've been oversaturated with Metallica for 20 years.
Look, I obviously know who Metallica is, but I don't know. Let me just read this. I don't know, like, one from another. Like, if a guy from Metallica was sitting next to me in an airport, just sitting there, and wasn't, I don't know, surrounded by whatever that made me think he was.
If they weren't surrounded by like 300 girls,
yeah, I would just be like, that's just a dude in the airport lounge. But so here's
same here.
James Hetfield, the hard-rocking lead guitarist and singer from Metallica, has spent years living in the San Francisco Bay Area, but he recently packed up and headed for the mountains. He and his family now live in Vail, Colorado. Excuse me.
Getting the free dope.
He has passion for the outdoors, and another hobby is that might surprise you, raising bees. When asked about moving to Colorado, he said, I kind of got sick of the Bay Area, the attitudes of the people there a little bit. They talk about how diverse they are and things like that, and it's fine if you're diverse like them, but showing up with a deer on the bumper doesn't fly in Marin County. My form of eating organic doesn't vibe with theirs. Beyond that, Hetfield, I always want to say Hatfield, Hetfield felt that, quote, that there was an elitist attitude there. If you weren't their way politically, their way environmentally, all of that, you were looked down upon. This is the typo in it. I love the ocean. I love the Bay Area. I love what it's got to offer. That's just an attitude that it was. It wasn't healthy for me, he added. I was starting to feel like I was just fighting all the time, and I just had to get out of my own head, so Colorado does it for me. Apparently James Hetfield is a hunter and an outdoorsman, and I guess he likes bees. And
he's a beekeeper.
and I assume this dude's got a lot of money, and I assume.
You pretty much assume correctly.
Yeah, I would assume that this isn't like the guys with the one hit. They had the one song or two songs that were big in the '80s, then spent the next 40 years singing the same goddamn song. These guys, this Hetfield guy, they've got so many songs and so many albums, and they're played all the time with the ASCAP BMI royalties. They're doing well, and it's interesting that the guy like him still can't. He could spend as much money as he wanted to live any way he wants to in California, but even he couldn't get away from the bullshit and decided to get out.
That's a very good point.
That's a real interesting point. I was like, what the hell's going on there, man?
Well, I mean, California is so out of control. I mean, now, mind you, he's in Southern California, which is where they're out of control. He might have hung out.
He's in San Francisco. That's pretty far up there. That's about halfway up.
But it's like San Francisco South is where all the crazy trains at.
Yeah.
It's like you go up to Northern California. Look, I know all the people in the North, they like to think they're normal. They're not. California is a train wreck, and, you go up there to like Washington and Oregon. They're just like mini Californias themselves.
I think some of the people, I can't remember. I think the people in Oregon take offense being compared to crazy lefty Washington. I recently have kind of learned that, but I know one of the problems is the people of Oregon are pissed off that California people move in and it's making it more like California, and it's like, why the fuck are you moving here? So I don't know much about it.
Well, yeah, but you know what?
But you're right, yeah.
Oregon's pretty freaking liberal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, Orange County, California is pretty conservative. So what? It's like a drop in the bucket. Who cares? Doesn't mean one goddamn thing. Doesn't affect California. It's so inconsequential that it's like the fucking Alamo. They're just waiting to get crushed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? But to give equal airtime, so I did heavy metal. Let me do rap. You probably don't listen. You probably don't listen to this guy either, because we've been busy and it was Christmas, and we're trying to get orders out and wrap things up. Do you know who? I know you don't know who this person is, Freeze. Do you know who Soulja Boy is?
I do.
Get the hell out of here,
dude! I work in the ghetto.
Yeah,
I know who's. Look, if one of his, we'll loosely say, songs comes on the radio, I would not know who he is. I know the name. I know he's a rapper. I won't. No, I don't think any of those rappers have any freaking talent. So but whatever. But he's got a following and he sells albums and he's probably worth millions of dollars. So whatever. But I do know the name. Yes.
Here's the story, and then I will give you why I'm reading it to you. Rapper Soulja Boy was recently arrested after he was snitched on by numerous people for having guns while on probation. Never mind, he was snitched on. There's a video of him on YouTube pointing guns at the goddamn computer screen.
I was going to say he wasn't snitched on; he snitched on himself.
So
I've heard this about this incident.
It's interesting how this particular outlet reports it as quote snitched on. So anyway, he got arrested. Weapons under disability. I don't know what they call it out there, but it's he's can't have guns. Yeah. Soulja Boy, he's standing for, I guess, arraignment. Soulja Boy tells judge, "I'm too small to be in jail. They'll pass me around like a blunt. I'm 5'9", 152 pounds on a good day. I'm like an appetizer in jail. They'll have me braiding hair and who knows what else." And I'm like, dude, if you want to be in the game, maybe you better hit the weight room, because part of your entire genre is jail.
Yeah. See, I've already heard more than one black guy refer to him as Soulja Bitch.
Really?
Yes.
See, I've been out of the ghetto too long.
Yeah, because, look, you can go up in front of the judge and act like a thug. And whether you mean it or not is one thing, but the guys on the street that listen to your shit, they respect that. But if you become a bitch in front of the judge, dude, you lose all kinds of credibility.
Yeah, I mean, like the kids that were busted for beating up the MRDD boy. Two of the males, one of them in particular is mean mugging in his freaking mugshot.
They're both mean mugging.
Yeah, I detected a mean mug in both of them, but I was like, no one's talked about that.
I noticed that right off the bat, how they were mean mugging, and on one hand, it was, in the back of my mind, it's just like, yeah, they know the game. They know the game. And the girls are just, they just turned into the blubbering pieces of shit that they are. But yeah, I actually, when I saw the 4 mug shots, that's the first thing that came to my mind. It's like, yep, they know the game. They're mean mugging because they know their mug shot's going to get out.
I did a post on John1911 about this, and on our Facebook page until I got rolled over to the new one. Basically, kind of talking about what's really going on in the streets of America, and it's nothing new. It's just now that there's cell phone cameras everywhere, and people will put their own shit on the internet. And I guarantee you, most people, I'm willing to bet, unless you're a cop, and if you're in our demographic, you don't even know what the hell mean mugging is. You can probably infer it from just because you can figure out the meaning of word by looking at the words around it, but you'd never heard of mean mugging until I just mentioned it right now. And if you don't know what mean mugging is, this is an example of how you just don't know how any of this shit works or what's really going on out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's institutionalized criminal behavior. And mean mugging in and of itself is not that, but it comes from somewhere. And, mean mugging doesn't come from people that are trying to go to Harvard. Or nobody who's mean mugging is trying to get out of the ghetto.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. I mean, if you're mean mugging, I mean, there's, look, you can't say in 100% in all cases, but, you can tell an awful lot about people by the way they behave. And I'm whether it's Timothy McVeigh or these guys, and the mean mugging, I was like, damn, really?
Oh, no. Mean mugging is not solely a black thing. It's a thug thing.
It's a thug thing. That's why I said Timothy McVeigh.
White guys mean mug too.
They try. I mean,
Yeah, I know it doesn't come across the same, but they do.
I know.
Look, you can stand in front of you've got 3 mug shots. You've got the guy that's so drunk or wasted he looks like what's the actor Nick Nolte. Okay.
Dude, 100 years from now, it's entirely possible that Nick Nolte as a meme will still be around.
Probably. Okay, then you have the person who it's a total breakdown. You can tell they've been crying and they just, you can just tell they're a wreck. And then you got the guy who's standing up there mean mugging, basically telling everyone that looks at his picture that I'm gangster. I don't fucking care. This is just another day.
Because he's thinking about, he's more concerned with his image in jail because he's so used to being in jail or going to jail. You know what I mean? That's the world you live in.
Yes.
Again, most people, unless you're a cop in our demo, have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. How is your hunting season, Freeze? What's the official? When's archery over? When's bow over? Is it over now, or do we have another few more weeks?
No, we have a couple of weeks. It's I think like February 2nd is officially over. And this has been a very bad. But you know why it's been a bad year?
You know what? I'll bite why.
Because I haven't actually gone out to hunt. If you can't, I had a
hunted
guy.
Indiana this year.
Yeah, I hunted Indiana. I haven't hunted a day in Ohio yet.
Okay.
And I had a guy, one of his favorite sayings was, you can't kill him from the camper.
Hey, when we have that shirt that we used to make that was Deck Hunter.
Yeah. But I haven't even deck hunted.
Actually, by the way, we are going to do some, I want to do some varmint control from your deck.
Oh, by the way, I've got a trail cam to set up. I want to get some shots of these coyotes I got running back there.
Yeah, we'll get the decoy out and we'll set up on your next time you've got some off time pretty soon, and we'll go more. We'll just call them in. We'll just start whacking a bunch of them. But anyway, I brought up hunting because apparently somebody has had a worse hunting season than us. Alabama player in hunting accident. It starts off with completely gone. It's completely gone. I shot it right at the knuckle and blew it off. Is how Alabama's Dakota Ball described what happened to his index finger while hunting over the holidays. His index finger. It looks like maybe his left hand. Ball said that he and a buddy were four-wheeling near Calhoun, Georgia, when the 12-gauge shotgun Ball had tied to his lap, not a good idea, went off. I didn't have my hand on the trigger, Ball added. We wish Ball full recovery. Blah, 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 practice gun safety.
Well, he didn't have his finger on the trigger. He didn't have the safety on, and apparently his left index finger was over the muzzle.
Yeah, how the fuck?
I don't know. Look,
how short is this shotgun?
Well, it's 18-inch barrel on a lot of slug guns.
And it was, he said he had it
tied to his lap. Unless he's a freaking...
mean, tied to your lap?
I don't know. And unless he's a freaking midget with sausage arms, he's going to be able to... You know what it was? They were probably... Look, this is... I'm speculating. I'm making this up. But this is my take on what you just told me. They were riding double on a four-wheeler, and he was in the back. And the guy on the four-wheeler probably had his shotgun in a rack, like I have on my four-wheeler. And the guy in the back was sitting behind him, and he had the shotgun in his lap, across.
So are we talking four-wheelers, or are we talking like side-by-sides or Kubotas?
No, I'm talking about a four-wheeler.
Okay, so you mean two people driving two separate four-wheelers?
No, they were probably riding one four-wheeler, but the guy was sitting behind the driver,
Oh.
Riding two on a four-wheeler. The guy had his shotgun in between them. Across his lap, if it was his left hand, the butt sticking out the right side, the barrel sticking out the left side. And he was probably holding on to the shotgun, and he probably had, his hand at the end of the barrel. And obviously, you hit a bump or whatever. It's hunting season. You have a lot, you have gear on. His finger might not have been on the trigger, but if that trigger got caught up in, a zipper or a pocket flap, and you hit a jar and the gun shakes, and classic example, this is about 10, 12 years ago.
I was going to mention it, so you go ahead.
Guy, down in Indiana is deer hunting. He goes out, he's got his gun loaded, it's riding shotgun literally in the passenger seat of his pickup. It's loaded. He doesn't have the safety on. He's got a round in the chamber, and he goes to get out of his pickup truck in the morning, and he grabs the barrel of the shotgun, and he goes to pull it out of the truck, and the trigger catches on something. Who knows what it caught on? It was some gear or garbage or junk in his truck, and the gun goes off and literally blows his head off. He takes a 12-gauge deer slug in the face because he grabbed the shotgun by the barrel and the trigger caught on something.
I bet that was a mess.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure, it was a mess.
The heart's still pumping too, so not to blow all that shit out. The heart pumped basically the rest of the blood out of the body.
Oh yeah, and his head exploded when a 12-gauge, a 1-ounce slug hits it. It hit a foot.
Yeah.
So I mean, so the thing is, I mean, that's what I guess. The only way I can think of why he would have it tied to his lap, he probably had the sling of the shotgun like around him or something like that. That's why it was tied to his lap. And they were probably riding double, and he had his hand, he was holding the end of the barrel, because he has to hold on to something. They're riding double, and the gun went off.
You should be a CSI investigator.
Maybe I am.
Because I'm looking at the picture of him with his hand wrapped, and it's like, that is not that is a interesting hypothesis. I have another football shotgun story.
Awesome.
Have you heard this one? I'm sure. Okay. I keep losing here because I keep betting you've never heard of these fucking people, and I'm wrong. So obviously you know who the Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz is, correct? Philadelphia Eagles. What sport is that? Is that football? It's quarterback. Right?
That's football.
I was testing.
I don't know who he is. I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't. I follow football about as well as I follow Metallica. Hey, look, it's not that I dislike football. I like football, but I don't have hours to sit in front of a TV on Sunday to watch football.
Yeah,
that's why I don't get into football, because I just don't have the time to watch it. I'll catch an Ohio State game every once in a while because I'm a big Ohio State fan, and
it's normally on hunting season. It comes on. It's a big deal. Like that.
Well, it's a big deal because 80% of the people that we hunt with down there are all Ohio State grads. So Ohio State football is a huge deal during hunting weekend. But I'll catch like I caught the Ohio State Michigan game this year. Because, if you're anyone that's an Ohio State fan knows that's
like the Army-Navy game.
That's your Army-Navy game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you're Ohio State, I would assume if you're Ohio State, you could win the Rose Bowl. But if you get beat by Michigan, you are pissed the fuck off.
Oh, it's a bad year.
Yeah. So, okay. Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz buys shotgun for entire offensive line. Shotguns, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
I did not know this, but I guess it's tradition after every football season that the quarterback will give something to the people of his linemen, because quarterback's offense and an offensive lineman. So anyway,
I wonder what Pumpernickel's going to give to.
Fucking cry. Jeez.
American flags.
Yeah. Yeah, free tickets to Cuba. Check this out. Rookie quarterback on top of that. So the guy's new. I guess he's starting. I don't know. Rookie quarterback Carson Wentz bought each of his offensive linemen a personalized Beretta shotgun for Christmas. A twist on the time-honored tradition of a quarterback rewarding the men who keep him upright each week. Quote, "This is an awesome gun. I am excited about it," said Alan Barbary, who, like Wentz, is an avid hunter. "I don't know if I'll shoot it, though. It's pretty nice. The shotguns are being engraved with each player's number on the butt of the weapon." Let's be honest. That's cheaper than engraving the receiver. Which is believed to be a Beretta Silver Pigeon 2000 model. Beretta Silver Pigeon MSRP is $2,000. I like to go clay shooting and stuff. Brandon Brooks told ESPN, I guess is another player, All I've got at home is a home defense tactical shotgun, short barrel, so I was looking for one of these. And then, there's the obligatory, they've got some anti-gun group coming in, basically. Why does it have to be guns? Fuck you. Here we go. Wentz is a hunter, and this is the anti-gunner. Wentz is a hunter, and there have been a lot of stories about that, but there have also been a lot of stories about how NFL players have gotten in trouble with their guns. She added, "This is certainly an interesting and unusual gift. I've heard of quarterbacks buying their offensive line ATVs or steak dinners. Putting locks on these guns will make them safer." And it's like...
Wow.
It's like... right now, see, in my mind, it's just like... Oh, you mean who? I will always remember the quarterback that bought his teammates shotguns for Christmas. I may not even remember his name. It'd be like, 3 years from now, some football game will be on. I'll be like, is that the quarterback that bought the guns for his linemen? They'll be like, yep. Like, I'm rooting for that fucking team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, it's an appropriate gift because they are in Philadelphia.
Oh. You know what? I didn't even think about that. That's right. What are the gun laws in Philadelphia?
Who knows? Well, but you know what? This brings up a very interesting. This brings up an interesting question. So, he buys a shotgun for every member of his offensive line. Okay, now. He can't just go out and buy a bunch of shotguns and bring them home and pass them out because that would be a straw sale. So what they have to do is they have to pick it up, and do the whole 4473. How many of his offensive line have DVs or felonies that prevent them from passing the 4473?
Depending on your state, add drug charge to that.
Yeah, good point.
A lot of people don't realize this. If you, even certain, and not all states, but certain states, if you even have a marijuana ticket, you may not pass a 4473 in that state. So, but, I don't know how many linemen are there? Shit. Is it 10, 9 guys?
Well, I don't know. Well, here's another thing. Is it
10 guys? So the quarterback and 10 guys?
But is it just his first string, or is he buying for,
See, now you're getting into the whole uncomfortable part of the conversation. Who's been naughty and who's been nice? I guess you have to make the argument who's a starter for that position. I don't know how it works in football, but...
Okay, here we go. It says, broadly speaking, the 11 players of the offense are broken into 2 groups. The 5 offensive linemen, whose primary job is to block, and the 6 backers and receivers, whose primary job is to advance the ball by either running the ball or passing it. So basically, you've got 11 guys. Now, that's first string.
It said linemen, though. The article said linemen, not wide receivers. Because it's the linemen that keep him from getting sacked. The wide receiver is...
Okay, so then it's 5. And that's first string, but then you've got second and third string. So you've got five offensive linemen on the field.
Here's the thing, dude. I'm going to get so hammered on this on the internet because I don't know shit about football. And I don't even know how many, I don't know positions. Like, I don't know any of this shit. And it's like, this is going to be so obvious to everybody that listens to this podcast but me. But, I went to private school. We weren't even able to field a football team. So, whatever. So, we had a rival team though. So, yeah, I just don't know. I guess he puts in the order. They have him engraved. I would imagine is he going to have him engraved by the dealer, and then Yeah, because
oh hell, the dealer probably just broke out a freaking soldering iron and engraved some numbers into the stocks.
Stibble that son of a bitch.
I would imagine that I'd imagine they were done professionally, whether they, I'm sure there's a competent gunsmith in the Philly area that could do it. I'm sure it wasn't done by Beretta. Unless you can order guns straight from Beretta. So, I mean, maybe he ordered them or had a dealer order them from Beretta and Beretta did the work.
Yeah, he may very well just, Beretta
takes orders.
Sure they do. I mean, it takes months to get them, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, if he bought five or 10 guns, I'm sure he worked out some deal with some dealer, and they figured it out. I would. That'd be good business.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We've been going kind of long here. Is there anything else you want to go into? Because I want to end it on a happy note, and I have my happy story ready. And I don't want to end on the Birdshot for self-defense thing, the big blow-up we had on Facebook on a post on John1911. So
bet you're glad that post is gone.
You know what? Fuck those guys. I mean, I was out of the goddamn country on top of it, so I couldn't even get on the fucking internet. And it's like, what needs to be said here is a shotgun, is a shotgun a step up weapon for you, or is it a step down weapon for you? For me, it's a step up weapon.
Well, look, your stance on the whole Birdshot shotgun, is that article on John1911.com?
Better be.
Okay. For those who didn't catch it on the Facebook page before we migrated over to the new platform, you can go to John19.
Are you there?
Cool.
You just totally broke
I'm
up
here.
on me. Say that again. Go to John1911.
Yeah, if anyone is wondering what we're talking about and want to read the article, you can go to John1911.com and pick up the article and read it there. But personally, I read it. I did not comment. I did not go in. I let it run its course. I mean, I did end up banning a few people because they kind of went off the reservation, and that's kind of what we do when someone goes off the reservation. But pretty much, I disagreed with about 85% of everything you said in that article.
Sure, I understand.
But
can you kill somebody with Birdshot? Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, nobody's saying that.
Well, here's my main, and this is where I thought you went wrong writing the article. But, I wasn't going to go in and contradict you, correct you, or place my stance. I didn't want to put my finger on that thread at all. I let it run. See, here's the problem. When you use the term birdshot, man, you got number 9 all the way up to number 2. Then you've got, man, there's just so many different grades and sizes of shot. Whereas, I wouldn't want to use number 9 as self-defense round. I mean, why? But
one of the arguments that seemed to be a constant theme with the people that took umbrage with my post, and it really was the title of the post more than the logic. Everybody basically kept saying, birdshot at 3 feet or 4 feet or whatever will kill somebody. And I don't disagree with that. You can kill anybody with anything. But, it's interesting how people, they want to, instead of having, what's better in your home? A Glock 17 or an HKVP9 with 15 plus 1 rounds in it, okay, that it's easy to maneuver around corners. It's easy to keep close to your body. If you end up on the ground or somebody jumps on you, you have a better chance of dealing with that problem with a handgun. Or do you want to have a shotgun? Most people, if you're going to run birdshot, most people that are doing this are doing it with pumps. So you've got less firepower. You're downgrading your rounds. you're basically arguing that you have to get closer to the person and giving them a chance to wrestle with you with your gun away, and you're introducing the idea of short stroking your gun and causing a jam under stress, or an automatic. You better be goddamn sure that Birdshot will cycle that automatic shotgun, and you better make sure it can do it from some odd, crazy bullshit position, not squared up right on it. I mean, it's just not an optimal choice.
Okay, but I think it's more optimal than a handgun because, you come out of a dead sleep. Most people are not, super trained to, clear the fog out of their head and be able to take care of business with a handgun. I can grab a shotgun with, look, my self-defense shotgun, what I run is number 4 buck. I like number 4 buck. It's not, double or triple lot where it's, monstrous. You get a decent sized pellet. It has a nice spread and it's enough to take anyone down. But with that being said, between like BB and triple B, Birdshot, it's not that much smaller than the number 4 buckshot as far as shot diameter. Now, here's the problem. I can run like, triple B or number 4 buck and shoot down a hallway, and I'm going to pretty much put an end to the situation real quick, and I don't have to worry about shot placement, with a handgun. But on the other hand, if you go to like, say, 8.5 or number 9 shot, that shit is so small.
Most birdshot that I've seen in common use is 7.5.
Okay, well, I wouldn't want 7.5 for self-defense. It's too small. And honestly, you get a guy standing in your doorway. I've got a large bedroom. You have a large bedroom. But let's say average bedroom is, let's say, 8 by 10, 10 by 10.
Okay, yeah. 10 by 10, okay. 13 by 13. Okay. I'd say the average bedroom in America is probably, okay. Well, we'll split the difference, 11 by 11.
Okay, we'll go 11 by 11. And if you live in an apartment, it's probably a lot smaller than that. But let's say 11 by 11. Man, some guy standing in your doorway, you grab your shotgun, you pop him with 7.5 shot, and he's got a butcher knife. He may carve your heart out before even if that shot, honestly. Yeah.
People get shot all the time and it's fatal, but they just don't know it yet. They don't have the courtesy to die.
That's what I'm saying. But, and 7.5 is small. And this is where I think you went wrong on the article. Instead of just saying, Birdshot, sucks, blah, 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 I think you should have went more into the detail of like, if you're getting up to, I think the largest Birdshot is T. It's called T.
Yeah, there is. Okay, so if you look at because I posted I ended up adding a chart to it.
Okay.
There, triple aught down the number 4, and then you go FT, triple B, double B, then 1. So there's above triple B is T.
Yeah. Okay, and that's the largest Birdshot before you start getting into buck.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know enough about it to.
I think T is the diameter is like number 4 buck is 0.20. It's a quarter inch.
I wonder how big F is. F looks like it might be the same size as number 4.
I'm not familiar with F, to be honest with you.
It looks like it's a little smaller. Yeah, I'm not familiar with F either, but I'm just looking at a chart. Most birdshot I've ever seen is 7.5.
Yeah, that's your standard hunting load. Mm-hmm. 7.5, 8, 7 to 8. Actually, I guess I should say 5 to 8. 5, 6, 7, 7.5, and 8. Those are your basic primary, like rabbit, squirrel, bird loads. Those are your common hunting loads for.
What? I just realized this chart I'm looking at. I think it's broken up into 3 rows. It's got lead, copper, and then steel. So there's looks like maybe is 7.5 birdshot typically is lead.
Yes.
That goes from the smallest is 12, 12, 9, 8.5, 8, up to 2, and then above that is BB, and then it goes, there's a copper. This chart is showing a 7 copper, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, up to BB, triple BB, T, then F. So that's a material differentiation on this chart. So, because you've got BB on here multiple times. I should say I have BB on here multiple times because I posted it.
Yeah.
So okay, I don't. But there's a. I don't. But there's a.
So okay. So here's the thing: if you're using triple B, or F, opposed to, there's not a whole lot of difference between that and say number 4 buck.
Yeah, so you're now looking at the chart too. It doesn't seem to be much of a size difference. I mean, it could be a mass difference with the material, but yeah.
But look at number 9.
Oh yeah, look at number 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's where I think you went wrong on the article because everyone got all wrapped up. But see, when you're saying like, well, birdshot can be lethal, and it's like, well. Yeah, but look, if I shoot someone in the face with number 12 birdshot, dude, well, okay, maybe shooting them in the face is, but look, if I shoot someone in the chest with number 12 birdshot and they're wearing a winter coat,
that's not gonna stop them for one bit.
Man, it might not even break the skin. I mean, maybe if they were a foot away from you, but I mean, if they were 10 feet away from you.
That's the point. And everybody's like, well, I just, 3 feet. And it seemed to be like a lot of people, the arguments were all conflating on top of each other and not being logical because I have a shotgun, but I want to if I get within 3 feet of you, and then people are like, well, how big's your goddamn house?
But that's why I want number 4 buck, because number 4 buck is still small enough not to,
Number 4 buck is fantastic.
It's still small enough to where you're not going to penetrate 2 and 3 rooms, or if you live in an apartment, you're not going to kill your neighbor. But yet it's big enough to where if I'm standing in my bedroom door and they're coming in the front door of my apartment and there's like a 15, 18 foot spread, number 4 buck's still going to do some damage.
You mean 15, 18 foot distance?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Well, spread the notes. People think people are going to think you said what you didn't say. So I have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I meant spread between us.
Yeah.
But okay. So, and that's again, I think a lot of the controversy in the 300 plus comments on that thread could have been avoided if you would have been a little bit more detail-oriented in just saying, birdshot's no good for self-defense.
So,
birdshot is good for self-defense, but it depends on what shot you decide to use.
I think I've been in your bedroom. It's all coming out now, Freeze. I think I've been in your bedroom, and...
My bedroom's larger than the average bedroom. Okay. My bedroom's 20 by 20.
Okay. Richie Rich.
Not hardly.
Scrooge McDuck. But okay, so let's say from the far side of your bed to the door, to the entrance to your bedroom, if you and your wife were to be ducking behind the bed and you throw that shotgun over the top of that bed and you're going to light somebody up in the door, I'd come over, you motherfucker, I can't believe you posted that on the internet. And I come over and you shoot 7.5 buck at me.
Or 7.5 birdshot.
Or 7.5 birdshot at me.
I'm going to pepper your ass.
And even if I'm buck naked, which again, it's all coming out now. If I'm buck naked in your bedroom without a winter coat on,
you'll cut me with your knife.
I'll cut you with my knife. I may even subsequently die or have a stroke or an aneurysm from all the damage from that birdshot entering my body.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, because here's the thing. At the distance we're talking, and mind you, I have a larger bedroom than most people. Mm-hmm. At that distance, the shot, when it leaves that barrel, is going to spread enough to where it's going to pattern. I mean, if I shoot you from a foot, there's no spread. It's like shooting you with a deer slug, regardless of whether it's 7.5 shot or not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a deer slug because I don't. You know what? It would be an interesting academic exercise to take all the 7.5 shot out of a bird shot and then weigh it mass wise and then weigh that. Get lead bird 7.5 and then weigh that to a 1 ounce. How much mass of birdshot is there in a birdshot round? 7.5 or 9 or whatever. But you see what I'm saying? I mean,
no. See,
or do they all load them in the same mass?
That's it. It's a mass issue because the birdshot is measured in drams, by the way. But here's the thing: if I have it's not the ounces. If you have 4 ounces.
You can't do weight because a number 7 of copper is going to weigh less than a number 7 of lead.
Yeah, exactly. But here's my point is, it's like, for example, if I have an ounce of 7.5 shot or an ounce of number 9 shot, it's still an ounce of shot, but
okay.
But yeah, I have more pellets.
Okay, that's true. That is true. So,
and that's how with like buckshot, like you might only have, where, you're going. It's the amount of balls in the casing.
Yeah,
but the weight's the same. But look, here's the thing. We can take a target and we can take some shot and shoot it from 2 and 3 feet away and look at the hole it puts in there opposed to the spread. See, because that's where I think a lot of guys were arguing at this like 2 and 3 feet, because that shot's in a cup. And when that cup leaves the barrel, the shot has to separate from the cup to spread. Well, if you shoot someone with 7.5 shot and they're only a foot or 2 away, it's like hitting them with a slug. You still have that massive shot and it hasn't left that cup. And I mean, it's going to make a big freaking hole in you because it's not going to spread out.
If I'm a bad guy, Freeze, if you and I are 2 or 3 feet from, if we're 3 feet from each other, you have a weapon, and I'm coming to get you, and you have a choice between your VP9, your pistol, or your New Haven. Is it what's your shotgun? It's a Mossberg, but what is it? Is it the New Haven?
It's a New Haven.
The New Haven shotgun. Which do you think is better for which gun you having? Which is better for me? Gives me more of a chance to win.
What's the scenario? I mean,
we're 3 feet apart. Because that's what everyone on the internet was saying. Oh, 3 feet, fuck you, Marky, 3 feet. And it's like, okay, 3 feet with a handgun or 3 feet with your Mossberg 500.
Well, no, but wasn't the article based on home defense?
Yeah, 3 feet. That's fine. Yeah, it is based on home defense.
But okay, well, here's the thing. If I'm in a dead-ass sleep and I wake up and see you standing 3 feet away from me, what do I want to grab, my shotgun or my pistol? I want to grab my pistol. And I'll tell you why.
See, now you're now putting in the argument that you get to choose, where a lot of people basically, and then to make basically foist the weapon, and it's one gun, and then to make it worse, it's their wives or their girlfriends. So they get the one gun, baby, just get the shotgun, you'll be fine. They don't ever work these fucking guns. They have to operate them under stress. And now you got to factor in that it has to be shot at 3 feet.
Well, no, I mean, there was nothing in the article about 3 feet. But okay, but
that
going
was the
back
argument people were making.
But going back to your 3 feet scenario, I'm still going for the pistol. And here's the reason. Here's the reason. You're 6'2", and your arms are like 4 feet long. So before I can swing that shotgun up, you can grab the muzzle. I mean, okay, I might pull the trigger, and you may get peppered, but you're pulling. I mean,
I have to jump on you.
At 3 feet, you can grab the muzzle with that gun and pull it out of the way.
You can fire a handgun from retention a lot closer than you can a shotgun.
I can fire. You know, I mean, yeah. I mean, at 3 feet, I can shoot you 4 times before you get to me.
Exactly. And see, and it's interesting because a lot of people, they're choosing, the reason why you choose a shotgun is it does a lot more damage with buck per shot than a handgun. And, you know, you're bringing more power to the equation, but you're also giving up some things. You're giving up maneuverability, you're giving up firepower, and you're also introducing, whether you're shooting a semi-automatic or a pump, you're introducing potentials for malfunctions and short strokes. You know, it's like the argument people like for girls or their women in their lives. These guys will do this all the time. They'll do the exact same thing that they're doing here with this Birdshot argument. They'll be like, I'm going to get my girl this little J-frame revolver and she can protect herself at home.
And I have no problem.
And all you have to do is pull the trigger 5 times and you're good. And it's like, okay, that's fine. You know, I understand the logic there, but here's the reality.
See, here's the best of both worlds. You don't get her a J-frame and don't get her a shotgun. Get her a Judge.
Don't.
And
no. This is an important point because there's people that don't know the difference in a joke and real. You're better off giving your girlfriend a Glock 17 or a Glock 19 or a VP9 because, she can't rack it or she can't do this, she can't do that. That's fine. Give her a goddamn VP9. She's got 16 rounds in that fucking gun before she has to do anything to it, and she can shoot it while it's close to her body. You know, as opposed to these little J-frame revolvers, they got 5 shots in them. They're incredibly difficult to reload because you got to take the gun apart to reload it. You do. The reload a revolver, you have to take the gun apart. And they suck to shoot. You know, it's this weird kind of crazy logic. People don't think it through. You know, for a home defense gun, for most people, you're better off with a Glock 17 than a Mossberg 12 gauge, especially if you're going to put Birdshot in it.
Yeah, but you see,
how come nobody loads up their Glock 17 with snake shot for home defense?
Yeah, but here's the problem. See, everything you just explained in this podcast, you did not do in the article, and that's where all the controversy came from. You went in there spouting your wisdom, expecting everyone to follow you like lemmings, and you didn't explain it to the fullest.
Nobody follows me, and no one follows me fucking anywhere.
Yeah, but the
reason we have John1911 is because I can't get a job anyplace else.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I read the article and said, yeah, whatever, garbage article. I didn't buy it.
But you saw all the comments and all the all the justifications and all the situations. You know, and we'll have to obviously continue on this because we are doing some shotgun stuff around here, and it's just interesting. Okay, and part of it is I didn't recognize that a lot of people use a shotgun as a downgrade, as not an upgrade. And that's where, I did learn something. There are people that take a shotgun, put it with Birdshot because they are intentionally trying to downgrade their gun because they don't want to overpenetration, family, this, roommates, or whatever this logic is they have. But they're not acknowledging the shortcomings of the shotgun, irrespective of the Birdshot, over a handgun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, a Glock 17 with hollow point ammo. That's probably going to solve a lot of your penetration problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And while we're on the philosophical talk, how come no one shoots deer with buckshot? I mean, I know why, but...
Well, I mean, they used to. Before they came out with the Foster slug, that's what they used, buckshot.
Yeah, that's why it was called buckshot.
I have some old paper-hulled shotgun shells. I I don't know what they're officially called. I always called them pumpkin balls because there's three balls down in the hall, and that's big ass shot. It's buckshot it's for hunting,
Yeah. Well, here I'll tell you what. I mean, we just got a shotgun back in from Van Comp to have it backboard and ported so they could shrink groups on it. And having that done brings up a debate, and one of the debates is that really worth doing if with some of these controlled pattern shotgun brands that are out now. And for what I'm going to propose, maybe it is. It may not be a bad idea if it's a Mossberg. We had it Mossberg 590. We had it worked on by Van Comp. If we take that gun out, put some real buckshot in it, group it, pattern it, see what kind of pattern you can get at the longest range, take it out next year and hunt deer with actual buckshot, and maybe even videotape it.
Well,
I mean, you're not going to take a shot at a deer at 35 yards. I mean, you could, but
the reason no one uses buckshot anymore for deer hunting because, and it's not as humane. You have a higher risk of wounding the deer without killing it, and it's not as accurate. Guys go out there with slug guns using a slug, whether you're using sights. Mind you, in the old days before the Foster slug, the Foster slug was, made it better because it was more accurate. These guys were using their bird guns. They didn't have slug barrels and sights and scopes.
Yeah, you're bringing up a good point on the humane part. I'm looking at it from ballistics testing, like some of the stuff I've been involved in, like with shooting pigs and stuff. Yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about it from that side. So I'm sure PETA's setting up outside the armory now.
Yeah, screw PETA, but I still don't want to. I don't want to be the guy using old timey buckshot.
I don't know about old timey, but double odd, triple odd buck.
Nah, I don't want to.
And a deer stand, and a deer is, what's the average range you've shot deer in Ohio for all the deer you've shot? I mean, you've shot deer at 15 feet.
Oh God, yeah, shit, yeah. I've shot deer. Yeah, I've shot deer at 15, 20 feet, and I've shot deer at 125, 130 yards. With shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a rifle. I've got an H&R rifle 20 gauge that basically is like a 45 caliber.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
I know, but that thing at 100 yards puts it. I mean, it groups better than most off-the-shelf rifles.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that people talk about using those, your type of a slug gun, at like, 300. Yeah, but honestly.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. People are like, I shoot deer at 250 yards. Yeah, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not going to call them liars, but I don't care. I don't care what kind of a shotgun you have, even if I'm using yours.
I hunt deer with a trebuchet, and I just stay at camp, and I just lob a big rock out of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with a shotgun, I wouldn't shoot a deer over 150 yards, and that's with a
hell of a shot. That's a world-class shot, dude. With a shotgun, you know it.
Well, not really. With a rifle barrel and a
look, hey, I got to stop you right here. You have been hunting with a shotgun for deer. You've used a shotgun as your primary deer gun for 40 years. You do not realize how proficient you are as a shotgun hunter compared to the average person. Most people have no business going anywhere beyond like with a shotgun. And not a specialized one like the single shot rifled thing. Dude, most people have got no business anywhere beyond 40 yards, and that's there's a lot of people that have no business at 40 yards, and you know it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
you've taken some pretty amazing shots with that fucking shotgun.
Yeah, actually, I have. And mind you, now hold on a second here. Now let me clarify that this is an older shotgun. I've had this shotgun I've had this shotgun longer than a lot of our listeners have been alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a rifled barrel. It's a cylinder bore barrel. Now it is a 24-inch barrel. I will give myself that. But I'm running. Yeah, I'm running. Standard Foster slugs. I'm not running Sabbats or copper solids or any of this high tech, Hornady bullshit that's out there that you have to use with a rifled barrel. And there's, and honestly, I'm not slamming any of those, because if I had a rifled barrel on this shotgun, I would indeed be using those rounds. But those rounds are ineffective if you have a barrel that doesn't have rifling. It's kind of the way a Sabbat works. So for those that are not familiar with shotgun hunting, because I know a lot of guys in a lot of states, look at shotgun hunting like, what? A Foster slug is a 1 ounce lead slug, and it's got the rifling on the outside of the lead. So when you fire the slug, the hollow base, once it leaves the shell, the gases expand the base, and the rifling on the outside of the slug creates a spinning effect in the smooth bore barrel. That's how the Foster slug works. Now, the reason I don't have a rifled barrel for my gun is because
you're a cheap bastard. That's why.
Well, basically, yes. Because, okay, so I go out and I can buy a used rifled slug barrel for my gun for $150. I can buy one used. But then I'm going to have to go out and spend $100 on all these different Sabbat shells to find out which one shoots the best and groups the best in my gun. Because I'm going to have to, shot test them. I'm going to spend, $100, maybe $200 on, I'm going to have to go out buy a couple boxes of 4 or 5 different brands, and they're, these Sabbats are, they're pretty expensive, for 5-shot boxes. And I'm going to have $300 in my gun to shoot the exact same amount of deer at the same distances I shoot them at now?
Yeah.
So why? The question is why? I don't need to be the cool kid. I put meat in the freezer now with what I have. I mean, look, if there was any type of a benefit, I mean, if it gave me a certain edge, or if it gave me, okay, it's like, okay, well, you know what? I mean, I shoot deer at 100, 125 yards now. Okay, this is going to give you those 150-yard shots all day long. Honestly, I don't need that extra 25 yards. I just won't take the shot.
Who's the company that makes the special barrels for the H&R shotguns? And if you use their ammo and their barrel, they guarantee some kind of crazy MOA.
Yeah, it's Hornady.
What's their published group that they're supposedly? I mean, is there someone getting like 200 yards?
They're talking MOA at 200 yards.
So with a 20 gauge. A 2-inch group.
2-inch group at 200 yards with a 20 gauge, using their ammo in their barrel. Yes.
Look, being guys like us, and technology's moving so fast now, and computer modeling and just trying things out, and that almost seems like, landing on the moon crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, that's almost, and to kids now, I mean, everyone's got an AR and they can do whatever. That's incredible to me.
Yeah.
But at what cost? What is that, $1 a shot? Couple bucks a shot?
Oh, for their ammo? Oh, shit, you're probably talking $3 or $4 a shot. Because it comes in 5-round boxes, and that box is probably $15-$20.
So you're paying more per shot than for federal gold medal match ammo?
Oh, hell yeah.
Think about that. And you're going to shoot anything at 200 yards, it's pretty good to practice.
Yeah.
Because you're factoring in more variables into that.
Yeah, if you don't practice, That means, the shit.
What?
Did you hear any of that?
I heard a little blip of something, but I don't think I got it.
Oh, okay. I had a freaking video pop up on me, and I
think you caught it.
Yeah. No, but if you don't go out there and practice, they'll sit there and say, okay, we guarantee, MOA at 200 yards with, our barrel and our ammo. But if you don't go out and practice, you're probably not going to shoot MOA at 200 yards.
How many people can shoot one MOA at 200 yards with a regular rifle?
Without a scope, I'm lucky to hit the freaking target at 200 yards.
You know what I mean? It's
because I'm old and I can't see. Yeah. But
so we've now taken this conversation full circle. We've gone from turning shotguns into less than handguns to now turning them into rifles. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, not one answer, I guess, solves every question. So,
no, and look, I mean, I knew what you were saying in that article. I knew where you were going with it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I just didn't have the energy to get involved, because I could have went in there and clarified a few things and made some comments. But honestly, I just didn't have the energy, because people were just out of control.
Oh,
and
it was out of control. Yeah.
And it was like, you know what? It's out of control because you didn't clarify yourself well enough in the article to get your point across. I knew what point you were trying to make, but no one else did.
Whatever.
And whatever. And like I said, if I would have, I was working, it was busy as shit.
You were working, you were busy, and I was literally out of the country. And I was trying the best I could to even just stay on top of it. But I would go hours without any satellite coverage. So,
yeah, I would roll in there, and I just kind of kept monitor on things. And like I said, I deleted and banned a few things because they went totally off the reservation. But as long as they didn't go off the reservation, I let them go. And it's just like, whatever.
Well, check this out. And here's where it gets even. This is the kind of content where you and I can discuss this stuff on a podcast where, on the internet, it's just such drive-by bullshit. Dude, you know as well as I do. We see this all the time. I will literally write something up on John1911. I will post a link to it on Facebook, and how many guys roll in and make a comment, and you can tell they didn't even read the goddamn link.
Oh, probably the vast majority of them.
So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about the amount of bullshit there is on Facebook? And then you'll get guys rolling in who will basically be responding to comments that they've read of other people, and none of them have actually read the article. They're just in their own little echo chamber of horseshit.
Yeah.
Facebook is terrible.
Yeah, it's bad for that. But
but hold on. But here's the worst thing: if you want to have a long gun for home defense, what's your best choice? Okay, if I'm like a Glock or a VP9 is better for a lot of people, especially if you're not really an anti-gun person. For home defense, you got 15, 17 rounds. Just keep pulling the trigger to solve the problem, and you can fire it from retention. If you have to have a long gun, you're better off with an AR-15 with like 55 grain tap ammo. If you're worried about over-penetration, 30 rounds, you don't have to dick with it. You don't have to worry about short stroking it, and it's got the recoil of a freaking BB gun.
Yeah, little M4 carbine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that at all.
That and again, see, it's just a lot of people won't even acknowledge that. So, all right, you know what? I'm going to end this on a happy note.
Okay.
And then we're going to wrap this up because we haven't talked in a while, and it's a new year, and I just want to laugh.
Okay.
So, we've talked about this in the past, and we haven't really gone into it too much. We're not going to go into it now. But you and I have discussed handgun grenade reference library stuff. So, I'm talking about hand grenades, and you know what a potato masher is, a stick grenade, right? Obviously, you do. Yeah. I mean, you're like our resident Milsurp guy. So, The average person at home, if you're not historian. Hold on, don't go there, dude. Wait for it. Don't bury the lead. There's all these different types of hand grenades out there, especially today. You'll see grenades they're round and they like baseball grenades or lemons. They're shaped like little lemons, or the pineapple grenade. They're like a little pineapple with a spoon on them. And again, people kind of, universally speaking, you don't have to be a gun person or a military person, but if you put a grenade on some stranger's desk, they typically know what it is. Even if they've never touched one or actually seen one in real life, they're like, holy shit, is that a grenade? A story came out of China. This guy, there's a picture of this, and this is not this. So what I'm talking about here is a potato masher. And so think of it, what it looks like is it's a grenade, stick grenade. And so it'll have like a little, like Campbell's soup can size, a small Campbell's soup can head. Okay, and that's where all that's where the party's up there. That's where the party is. Yes. And then it's got like a little wooden handle about, 9-10 inches long that comes off the bottom of it. And the reason these grenades are designed like this is so you can have leverage. Some people can throw them farther with that leverage, and they can do different because they can flip it and do stuff with it. Maybe with a hand grenade is more like hand grenades are heavier than baseballs, so you can't throw them like baseballs, and if you've ever thrown a grenade, that quickly becomes apparent to you. But, so anyway, this thing does not look like a pineapple grenade or a lemon grenade or a little baseball grenade. So this man comes in to the authorities in China, and he's got a stick grenade. And he apparently had seen some kind of, PSA or alert, and they're basically telling people that, left over from the revolution against Shanghai Shek and all the shit that was going on in the 30s and the 40s and World War II, if you have old ordnance and old weapons and whatever, if you've got stuff buried or maybe your grandparents, something, stuff's getting older, if you see it, turn it in, know something, say something. It's just campaign. They're just trying to, I don't think it's so much from like the communists trying to take guns from people. I really think they're doing it from like an idea of like, we want people to be safe.
They're tired of people getting blown up in their houses because this old ordinance gets old.
Yeah, just, things people don't know what, if you're a hilljack farmer in the hilljack area of China and you don't know what the thing looks like, a mortar round, you don't know what the hell it is. This old man comes in and he brings in, it's a stick grenade. There's a photograph of it. It is a stick grenade. It doesn't look like a German one. I've never seen one like this.
I think it was Russian.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, actually.
Because they have a shorter handle.
You know what? It probably is. So, I can't say this, it's Shanzi man was shocked to learn recently that his trusty, quote, nutcracker was actually a hand grenade. So, the man, surnamed Ran, from Ankang City, told local reporters that he had been using the device regularly for the past 25 years to crack open walnuts.
I know.
However, earlier this month, he decided to stop using it after reading a safety leaflet about explosives that clued him into the true nature of his tool. He has since handed a grenade over to police, who are examining the device to find out whether it's still capable of exploding. It does not have a pin, but this article, listen to this, it does not have a pin and was likely manufactured back in the 1960s, which doesn't make any sense to the historical timeline that I was giving you. Rand said he, quote, received the nutcracker as a, quote, gift back in 1991, though he didn't say what kind of, quote, friend had given him that device.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the stick grenades don't have pins.
Don't you, like, pull the bottom and twist it?
Yeah, it's on the bottom of the handle. It's got a cap, and you unscrew the cap. It's just a screw-off cap, and it's got a cord in there with usually like a little ball on the end, and you pull the cord. It's like dead fuse.
This one has it has the cap that's got the spin cap and the yeah. So
yeah, because they don't have pins. You unscrew the cap. The little ball is weighted, and it falls out with the cord, and you yank it. And when it pulls free, that ignites the fuse, and then you throw it.
Yeah. So I'll get pictures of it up, and I'll put it on. I've been sitting on this really for a couple weeks. And
I read that article. I got the biggest chuckle out of that.
So I'll go to the Chinese original sources and dig up, any follow up or whatever. And so, yeah, go to Grandma's house and go through her kitchen and see if she's got any stick grenades that she's using to crack open walnuts. Ooh. So I thought I saw that and I was waiting to share that with you. I may have even sent it to you and said, we're going to talk about this on the podcast.
Dude, I came across that article and I don't know, maybe you sent it. I don't remember where I came across it at. You might have even sent it to me, but when I read that, it's just like, that's just filled with awesomeness.
Yeah, that is just the brim to the rim with totally awesome content. I was like, dude. Of course, that happens. Yeah, I have, buddies. I mean, it doesn't, the quote, greatest generation, all these people that served in World War II, great-grandpas passing away, widows and grandkids, for all the stories you hear about, I had no idea my grandpa had a Schmeiser in his fucking attic. Like they're finding stuff. They don't report it like a good buddy of mine, I don't want to say the city, I had this woman, she brought in a hand grenade and it was live. And it had been in her grandpa's possession.
And actually in the 80s in the 80s and the 90s, when a lot of these World War II vets really, there were still a lot of them alive and they were starting to really, get old and die. There was a lot of that, a lot of stuff was getting turned in. It was not uncommon for hand grenades to get turned in because apparently every freaking GI from World War II brought a hand grenade back with them. But back then you could bring shit back. There weren't there weren't a lot of regulations. You could bring souvenirs back.
We didn't have metal detectors. It's easier to probably get a grenade back as a troop ship returning than it would be a rifle, even if you were because you have to duffel cut the rifle if you're trying to hide it.
Yeah, if you're trying to hide it, that's where the term duffel cut came from. Because, as long as you stuck it in your duffel bag, no one went through your gear. But you had to cut the stock. You had to take it apart and cut the stock to get it to fit. And then guys would come home and put the stock back together and put the rifle back together, or they would just put the barreled action in a sporter stock and use it as a hunting rifle. And a lot of times they were rechambered. That's why you see a lot of like Arisakas and mainly Arisakas. Because, see, with the German guns, they didn't rechamber a lot of them. They did. They rechambered a lot of Mausers, but they didn't get rechambered because you could get 8mm ammo.
Almost all the European calibers were available at some level.
But the Arisaka rifles, like 7.7 Jap, you couldn't get that. It was
1960, you were fucked. You didn't get that shit.
Even in the 40s, 50s, 60s, you couldn't get that. 6.5 Jap, 7.7 Jap, it was just not available. And the same thing with the Carcano ammo, the Italian ammo. You just couldn't get it. So that's why you see a lot of Arisakas chambered in 30-06. Because, coming back from World War II, 30-06, man, shit. You couldn't walk down the street without tripping over a box of 30-06 ammo. It was everywhere.
Didn't you and I just find an Arisaka we saw in its 6.5 Swede?
Yeah, actually we did.
I wonder what happened to that. I'll have to look into that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I got busy.
Yeah, and it really wasn't, it's like, But
it wasn't sporterized. It still looked military, but somebody rebarreled it.
Yeah, they redid it because, again, if you want to shoot the rifle, you have to redo it because the Jap calibers just the ammo wasn't available.
Yep.
So, it's not uncommon to find, and a lot of your collectors, be like, oh, Bubba had it, Bubba was, working hard on that rifle. And it's like, yeah, but, first off, Jap rifles were literally, you'd go to the hardware store and there'd be a barrel outside the store. And you could buy them for $2, $3, $4, $5.
Major retailers used to do that. Not just like little corner stores, but national chains would have barrels of just random shit that they didn't consider that valuable, and it'd be in front of the counter.
And they'd literally sell them for a couple of bucks. And and there was no ammo available for them. So what it was, okay, have it rebarreled, and
just
have it rechambered for 30-06, put it in a stock, or cut the stock down and sporterize it yourself, and you have a cheap little hunting rifle.
Well, this is why I've told the story before. This is why on even like older military surplus, like ordnance, ORD, I'm always conservative because, this hand grenade, while it just as easily, could have blown up, or maybe it's been demilled, the guy may not know. And
maybe it was a dud.
And, and the thing is, he, in all good faith, sells it, turns it in. I got to sell this to some shop. And then, it ends up in front of you, and you buy it from some place, and they're like, oh, yeah, this old demilled, hand grenade, it's all whatever, or this cannon shell, or this whatever, and you take it home and it ends up blowing up on you. It's not uncommon for this stuff to accidentally end up in circulation, even with all good intentions. We had one over here come in. I was like, I didn't understand that it was going to be weighted as a training device, and I thought it was loaded, and I was like, holy fuck. So I was going to call the fucking bomb squad.
It's not uncommon for people on the East Coast, metal detector hunters that go around looking for Civil War shit to blow themselves up. Didn't we talk about some ordnance that was found not too long ago?
Yeah, we've had a few incidents. Some guy blew himself up in his driveway. I think I remember last year or the year before. I don't remember what it was. But we're going long here, and we'll go ahead and we'll save it for the next episode. So that's a happy note. So hand grenade, know what to get me next year for Christmas. I need a stick grenade as a walnut cracker. So, all right, this wraps up episode 50 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to read apparently my poorly written article on Birdshot, you can go to our blog page at john1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. If you follow us on Facebook, we are still on Facebook. However, Facebook has changed us. We are no longer Tactical T-shirts, so you have to find us at john1911.com or John1911 Gun Blog. We could be in your like section on your profile, or do a search and follow us again. It looks like most of the 200,000 people have found us, but a few people I'm getting emails on. So just remember, also special consideration for our audio engineer. He's going to be doing a lot of cleanup on this one. Mitch at A&B Promotions. And happy 2017, everybody. And just remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. And everybody, have a good day.
See you later.